Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I am pumped for today's episode. It's actually an audio that I pulled from Audacious and Unlimited. And so, inside of Audacious, every single day, what we have is a new training that drops for 24 hours only. That is all really around you becoming more audacious, you tapping into your ambition, you taking more action towards your goals. And the one that we dropped that you're going to be hearing from is actually a topic in Unlimited. It's such a good one. It's all about being a beginner. And the reason why it's so important is because if you are not good at being a beginner, you're probably not going to be very successful. And I'll talk about why in the episode. But before we dive in, I wanted to announce that Unlimited is officially back open. I have not sold this in probably over a year. And let me kind of explain to you guys why. So before, I was helping people inside of Unlimited start and grow their businesses with confidence, and it was amazing. It was doing so well. It's an offer in which I've made probably $500,000 on, but I started to see a pattern, and I noticed that my favorite clients, they wanted to go so much more beyond business. Like, they were such ambitious people. They wanted to change everything, their discipline, their self-trust, their ability to handle hard things, the lives that they got to live. They weren't just trying to make money online. They wanted to become this person who could handle so much more. And so over the past year, I've built out Unlimited to make it a program that is exactly that. I I added I think it's like 4 courses to it. There's more intimate support. There's deeper neuroscience and psychology backed methods. And it's now something that not just holds business growth, but complete total life transformation. And it's the kind of space that I once like I would have chopped off my left arm and paid easily $10,000 for this room. But it's now this place where you don't come to just grow your business or grow your career or whatever it is, that you're wanting. You come to change your life, to reach the levels of confidence and relentlessness and regulation and self-respect and earning potential and self-trust that you've never reached before. And what we really do inside is help you master audacious self-belief in the skills and mentality needed to create unrealistic success on repeat. And the thing that this room is known for, I absolutely love it. There's like case after case after case of this, where whatever the thing is that you think is too out of reach, the way that you're wanting to become unrecognizable, like that's what this room is all about, is you becoming unrecognizable, you becoming that person who hits the things that are too out of reach. We've had people triple all the way to actually 8x their monthly income. We've had people start businesses, start nonprofits, start private therapy practices. People have revived their marriages inside. They've lost 30 pounds. They've moved abroad. They've gone from thinking they were never going to travel to hitting like 10 plus countries. Like, it's just a beautiful room where you become the kind of person who is so freaking confident in yourself that you go after and you build the skill set, the regulation, the self-respect, the self-trust, all those things to actually go create the life that you want. And the reason that I really want to pair this particular episode with announcing that to you guys is because you have to be willing to be seen to do that. You have to be willing to fail to do that. You have to be willing to really grow in such different ways. And I think being a beginner is such an integral part of all of that. So I think this all pairs well. But the other thing that I wanted to announce to you guys is that we have crazy, like $1,500 off Unlimited right now, and one-to-one private bonuses and all those sorts of things. So if you are someone who you're like, I know I want more in life, like I know that I want so much more. I want more success. I want more discipline. I want more momentum. I want more life. I want to be my most confident self. And you want to go after things and you want to be pushed and you want a community of people where you're going to meet your best freaking friends because people do. Like, I just went to Bali, and who I went to Bali with was I think it was like 5 or 6 of my clients who all became best friends through Unlimited. So if you want that community, if you want intense coaching where you and I are talking every single day, and you want a bunch of courses that are going to help you do it in curriculum, Unlimited's a great space. And there's a limited time on the $1,500 off. And it ends up being like $375 a month after the bonuses. So would love to have you come talk to me about it. I'm happy to hop on a call and talk to you guys about it, but I just wanted to officially announce it here for anyone listening. And it's just a room that has done so much good. And I'll put the link in the show notes. But if you go to that sales page, it's literally just case study after case study after case study, win after win after win of people winning in there. We've only had, I think in total, maybe like, I don't even know how many clients. I think 50, less than 50. But there's literally over 1,000 screenshot wins. I have so many videos of client testimonials, and you can watch them on the sales page, but I have so many client testimonials of people that they've submitted that I could literally fly from New York to LA and still not be done watching all of them. Like, it's just a great program. And so if it's something that you're wanting more, you're wanting to go deeper, absolutely consider Unlimited. But I just wanted to give you guys that info. But let's officially dive into today's episode. I feel like I want to say more and preface it more, but I honestly think I cover a lot of what you need in the audio itself. So without further ado, let's go into the recording. Hello, friends. Okay, one of the requests that I got for the daily drops in Audacious is I could use a riff on how to keep my head in check when I hate sucking at things, but I'm a beginner in many things all at once. How do you keep that audacious mindset when you suck at being a beginner? And I love this question. It's actually something that we cover inside Relentless a lot. So, Relentless is my course where it's all about how do you become a more disciplined person? How do you really chase that success without burning out? How do you have that kind of relentless energy where you know what you want and you're going to go get it? And being a beginner is a really big part of that. And being willing to be a beginner and being willing to fail and be seen. And it's just a really big topic there. So, a lot of what I'm going to be talking about in here is pulling from that. And I feel this one. And I know a lot of you guys do too. Like, it sucks to be a beginner. And I used to hate being a beginner. I used to hate being seen being a beginner. I used to hate trying new things, even though I really, really wanted to. Like, the idea of trying new things would sound really exciting. But then the moment when I actually was starting to do it, I wanted to be like this prodigy at it already. And I even recorded a reel on a little bit about this today. And one of the things that I said is that it's often not even that you're bad at new things. You just hate looking like you might be bad at new things. So I totally get that. What's happening is that your ego is flaring up when you're bad at something because you don't want to be perceived in a certain way. You are making your skill level mean something about you, and you're starting to worry about it and trying to manipulate and control it. That's what's going on. You don't want to be perceived in a certain way. You're making it mean something. Being perceived a certain way, and all of those things, the struggle, the failure, the judgment and being perceived, all of that is just a necessary component on the way to putting yourself out there. It's a necessary component for being audacious. It's a necessary component to going after what you really want, because everything you want is outside your comfort zone, and you are going to be judged. You're going to fail. You're going to make some mistakes outside there. So it's a really big deal, actually, that you are able to go be bad at something, go fail. And I think beginner and failure is a very similar conversation without making it mean something about yourself. So the problem is not that you're a beginner and that you're bad at something. The problem is that you think you're bad at something and you have a very low tolerance for making mistakes, and you have a very low tolerance for not instantly getting something. And then what happens is you make it mean you're incapable, you make it mean you're stupid, you make it mean you're going to look like an idiot or you're behind, and that is the real problem. That is really the true problem. And it gets almost even worse for high achievers. And I find that high achievers have this problem more than others because they're used to being good at things quickly. And that's actually something that happens in entrepreneurship a lot, is that you're so used to being good at things quickly with content. I see this with content creators a lot, or people who want to create content, or even entrepreneurs who need to create content for the business. When they're not immediately good at it, which you're probably not going to be, they start making it mean things, and then they start getting imposter syndrome. And then we've got this whole problem on our hands when it's just like, you needed to put your ego down and be willing to not instantly be good at something and not have the instant gratification that you're used to going for. One of the biggest things that I'm going to say to you in this, it's very true, and I need you to sit with this, is, do you care more about how you're perceived, or do you care more about getting results? When you hate being a beginner and you suck at being a beginner, all of this is going on. It's usually because your ego is flared up, and it's more important for you to look like you're good at something than to actually be good at something. It's the same thing. It's like, do you actually want to be good at the thing that you're going after, whether it's content, whether it's boxing, whether it's running, whatever new skill you're going after? Is it that you care more about looking like you're good at it, or do you actually care about being good at it? Because if you suck at being a beginner and you don't want to be seen as a beginner and all these things are going on, you care more about how you're perceived and what people think of you than you actually do about being good at the thing. I'm going to take a boxing example. So in the boxing classes that I've taken, there's two types of really confident people in those rooms. There are the people who are really good at boxing. They are confident. In my classes, I am now officially really good at boxing, but in the grand scheme of being good at boxing, I'm not at all. Okay, so keep that in mind. But it's like my confidence in there, I have gone from one kind of confident to another. And the second kind I'm talking about now is the kind they're just really good. They've done the thing, they've built the skill, and so they're confident in their skill and they're confident in these classes. The second kind of person who is confident, and I see these every week. So for context, I go to the flagship Equinox in New York City, and it's an Equinox hotel. Not every Sunday, but a lot of times there's hotel guests who come to these classes, and they're people who have never boxed before. So half the class tends to be, people the regulars, I'm a regular now. And there's sometimes a handful of just either people who've never boxed before or hotel guests. And it's funny, of people who have never boxed before, there's going to be people who are super aware of their bodies and super aware that they're new and they don't like to be a beginner and they're not confident. They want to look the best, but they're just a beginner. And there's people who, you see it. I see it in boxing. I saw it today. People who want to seem like they know what they're doing, but they're not learning very much. And then the actual second kind of person, though, who's confident are the beginners who are just so okay looking like an idiot. Because when you first start boxing, if you've never had to move your arms that way, move your body that way, you don't know what the combos are, you look like an idiot. And the people who are confident are, yes, the ones who know what they're doing, but also the ones who are new and don't care that they don't know what they're doing. They look so much better than the ones who don't know what they're doing and are trying to show off like they do, or who care that they look like what they're doing, right? So confidence and being audacious and getting good at these things, it's not something that you're going to have before you do the thing. It's something you're either going to earn by doing the thing, or confidence in these examples is something that you earn by being okay that you're a bad beginner. Does that make sense? And so people often think that they need to be good before they do the thing. But confidence and your skill are usually going to come after you've sucked, not before. So if you're someone who's a bad beginner, you're probably going to stay a bad beginner at a lot of things in life. And I had to learn that the hard way. This is coming from my truth entirely. I felt like I wasn't actually getting good at anything because I was so focused on making sure I didn't look like a beginner, making sure I wasn't a beginner. You know what I mean, right? So it's like the only way for you to truly get past the beginner stage is to be the beginner and to be okay being the beginner. You need to be more humble. You need to work on your ego. You need to work on your fear of being judged. And instead of focusing on trying to control how you're perceived, you need to focus on building your skill. So if I go back to the original question of I could use a riff on keeping my head in check, you need to keep your ego in check. That's what actually needs to be checked, your ego. That's what needs to happen. And I see this a lot with entrepreneurs, because in entrepreneurship right now, a really big thing is that we're all having to create content. We're all having to sell our businesses online. And the thing that I see happen all the time is, especially people who have been in the business for more than 2 years, there used to be a really big conversation about authority. You need to be seen as the authority. So what a lot of people were doing is trying to manipulate how they're perceived. They're trying to almost hide the bad parts of them and try and force coming off as the expert, force coming off as the authority, when the reality is, especially in today with personal brand being king and really content being king right now, you don't need to manipulate. You don't need to, go off and be the best immediately. And that's what I think a lot of people think they need to have. Instead, whether it's in your business or whatever content, any endeavor, being a beginner, rather than try and manipulate how you're perceived, especially, again, coming back to this, if you're an entrepreneur, you will make so much more money if you just listen to me on this. Rather than trying to manipulate how you're perceived and put on this performative confidence and try and seem the best, especially when you're new, it's just own where you're at. own that you're a beginner. The beginner, like there's not, just because you're a beginner doesn't mean that you can't help people or you don't have anything to offer. I have this one friend who he's been posting content for a little over 100 days. Like that's it. And he keeps telling me, and we have conversations back and forth a lot about our content, my content, his content. And one of the things he always reflects to me is he's always so amazed that I listen to him. And he's always like, I'm always shocked that Kenzie listens to me. Like Kenzie's been doing this for years and Kenzie has, the 7-figure business. And like, I don't have any of that, but she still listens to me. And it's because I don't believe in that hierarchy. And you're probably buying into some sort of hierarchy of like, once someone knows things, they're better than the other person versus, and that's why you probably feel the need to manipulate yourself and make sure that you're not a beginner in things. And that's very ego led. And that's okay if you've done it. I've been there literally so many times. Like I promise you guys, I've been this person. You need to instead own that the beginner has value too. Like you're not less valuable because you're a beginner. It's okay to not know things. It's okay to not have your skills up in one area. So it's like, you don't need to keep you need to keep your head in check, but you really need to keep your ego in check. You really need to look at some of the shadier things that you're doing to try and be perceived a certain way rather than just trying to be the best that you can be. I want you to really sit with this. You might need to listen to this one a couple times. You do need to watch your head in the way that you're talking to yourself when you are a beginner. So if you're getting down on yourself, if you're shaming yourself, if you're being really hard on yourself, you're going to stay a beginner because you are going into this mentality of like, I suck, everyone's going to judge me, when you probably need to be more in the mindset of like, my only job is to keep going. And the thing that I find so funny is the people who hate to be beginners stay beginners the longest because they're so they're keeping themselves in the cycle of I suck, so they pull back and then they need to try again, and I suck, and then they pull back, blah, blah, blah. Versus if you keep showing up, you're never even going to remember the beginner. You'll remember the beginner phase, but like you'll get through the beginner phase so quickly because you just have kept showing up. You didn't go through that pulling and pulling out because your ego got flared up. You'll just realize your only job is to keep going. Your only job is to master the skill. Your only job is to not make it mean anything. Going back to what we talked about at the beginning, stop making it mean things. If you're just a beginner and it doesn't mean anything about you, you're just a beginner. Okay, I'm just here to focus. I'm here to be focused. I'm here to better my skill. It doesn't like I have things to learn. And that's great and good and well. And you'll be so focused on the growth that you're actually going to grow. And I think the other thing that I've been talking to my clients and you guys and everyone about boxing more lately because that's been something that I started boxing in, I think it was September or October. I just made sucking a part of the plan. Like I was expecting it. I was planning for it. I was planning for I'm going to start boxing and I'm going to be the worst in the room and that's good. And I was. I was the worst I remember the first class I took, I was the worst in the room by far. And it was okay. And I've been a very fast learner with boxing. I'm now boxing with people who have been boxing for 3 years. A huge reason why is because I just made it part of the plan that I was going to suck. And I made it part of the plan to play the long game. Rather than trying to be the best immediately and all these things, I'm just trying to better my skill to the best of my ability. I'm trying to be the best beginner, actually. Rather than trying to get out of being a beginner, which most people do, I'm just trying to be the best beginner. I'm expecting that I'm going to suck. I'm expecting that I'm going to get punched. I'm expecting that I'm going to get a lot of feedback. I'm expecting that the trainer is going to yell at me. And trust me, one of them absolutely do. He yells at me every single class. I'm expecting that my form is going to suck. And I'm not there to be the best in that one instance or that one moment or that one class. I'm there to play the long game. And so instead of trying to be great immediately and the best in the class, that one, which is what most beginners, like shitty beginners, are trying to do because they're trying to just focus on making sure everyone in the room thinks a certain way about them and they're not judged and all these things, all that ego. When you play the long game, you're like, oh, okay, I needed to suck today. I'm going to suck today. It's probably going to keep sucking. I'm just trying here to learn. Do you see the difference? There's such a difference in mentality. And I find that this is what costs a lot of entrepreneurs. This is what costs a lot of content creators. It's so funny. I've had a lot of clients recently who, business owners, whatever, they keep being like, oh, content takes so much time. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Content takes a really long time. And it's so funny how so many people expect one piece of content to take like 2 minutes and then they can move on with their day. And they even think the big creators, it's taking that long. One of my mentors has millions of followers. And he told me the other day, he's like, I literally spent 4 hours on this piece of content. That's not always what happens, but it's like, beginners often make it such a problem that content takes a long time. So content will continue to take a long time because rather than take the time to learn the skill so it takes less time, it takes a long time and they pull back and then they don't want to do it because they want to be instantly gratified. They want it instantly to be easy. And then they stop producing as much content and then it keeps taking a long time. So it's like play the long game as well. The most audacious thing you guys can do, going back to the original question of like, how do I keep this audacious mindset when I suck as a beginner? The most audacious thing you can do is keep going when you don't feel like it. The most audacious thing you can do is be confident being the worst. Be confident despite the fact that you're the worst. Be confident being the best beginner. Like your focus should be on being the best beginner. Keep going when it's frustrating. Keep going when your brain hates it. Keep going when you're worried about embarrassing yourself. When you can still be confident even though you're embarrassing yourself, that's what makes you good. Think back of this whole conversation with boxing. There's two people in the boxing gym that are confident. The people who don't care that they're embarrassing themselves because they suck, and the people who have gotten past that and therefore gotten good. That's what makes you good. Makes you unstoppable. You're not behind. You're not incapable. There's nothing wrong because you're not instantly the best. You just hate being bad at something because you're insecure. That's what's happening. And I know that stings. I know. I was just thinking about if I were in that place again and I was listening to this audio, I'd be like, I hate Mackenzie. Oh my God. My body's heating up and I want to hide and I don't want to be a beginner anymore. So like if that's what's going through your brain, I totally get it. You are just feeling insecure about being bad at something because you want to control how you're perceived so that you're not judged because it feels safer. I love you. I love you. I love you. I get it. And you're probably not even as bad as you think you are. So get really good at being really bad. And it's the part that people want to skip. But if you don't skip it and you just really hold the energy of like, okay, it's fine. I'm embarrassing myself. Like it doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. I'm going to have fun with it. I'm just going to be in this process. I'm going to love the process. You're the ones who are going to get what you want. Okay. I hope you guys love this. And this is just it's such a good one. I think a lot of people needed to hear it and listen to it literally maybe like 5 times. Like I'm not kidding you. Listen to this like 5 times. All right, guys, I'm so happy you listened. If you have any questions on being a beginner on any of these things, as you know, my DMs are always open. You can find the links to Audacious, to Unlimited below in the show notes. If you haven't already, I would love if you would rate this episode and then just take a screenshot if you loved it, share it to your stories, tag me, let the people know that this exists. It really does wonders for the episode. But thank you for listening, and I will catch you guys soon.